Kart racers used to be an enormous part of the gaming landscape, juggernauts on the level of a modern AAA shooter. During the era of the N64 and PS1, they reigned supreme with games like Mario Kart 64 and Crash Team Racing. But by the time of the 360 and PS3, the kart racing game had more or less evaporated, save for the original Mario Kart. There were some kart racers on the consoles, though, games that largely went ignored when they were released. In case you missed it, this is Blur. This was actually a game that even I missed when it came out, sort of. There was a pre-release beta that was run on the 360 that I played quite a bit of. I love the idea of reimagining a kart racer using real cars and more realistic tracks and environments, and more importantly, I really liked how it played. But I held off buying the full game because I had serious concerns about the longevity of the game's online community. It was abundantly clear, even at the time, that so much of what the developer was building relied on people actively playing the multiplayer for years to come. Blur is absolutely riddled with social hooks, with leaderboards, custom challenges, and an online leveling system not all that dissimilar from Call of Duty, and they all seemed integral to the core experience. Blur was made by Bizarre Creations, the developers behind the Project Gotham racing game, and it feels very much like a kart racer brought to you by the people who gave you PGR. The cars handle almost identically. The vehicles in the game are well modeled and licensed from real manufacturers like you'd expect from Bizarre, but the things they're doing on the game's tracks have almost nothing to do with reality. Like any kart racer, the track is littered with power-ups like missiles, mines, and speed boosts, and using them offensively or defensively is key to winning races. This strange hybrid of PGR and Mario Kart was released in its final state on May 25, 2010 in North America, and from the way people talked about the game post-release, my concerns were justified. The people playing the game online seemingly disappeared overnight, and the game quickly became stagnant. Of course, that meant that its value at retail declined quite rapidly, and sometime the following year, I was able to pick up a copy for relatively cheap. Thankfully, there was still a somewhat dedicated community of people playing online, as well as a small influx of people from the ongoing retail fire sales. At the very least, enough to find matches quickly and easily. I had my fun with Blur, but eventually it went on a shelf like any other game does, and it seems like that's what happened to most other people as well. There are still a few people playing online multiplayer, usually about 20 or so, but if you're just starting out, you'll find that they are many levels above you and are driving cars far better than yours, consistently leaving you in the dust and racing on your own. Honestly, at this point, Blur seems like a game that time forgot. Without anyone present for the social interactions, many of the game's menus and notifications are utterly pointless. And the single player is fun while it lasts, but eventually comes screeching to a halt, much in the way most kart racer single player experiences do, leaving you without a whole lot left to do. Thankfully, while Blur's online is now impenetrable and its single player fun yet ultimately unfulfilling, there is one redeeming quality: 4-player split screen. Just like the many kart racers that preceded online multiplayer, Blur is a blast to play with friends locally, and these days, it's the only part of the game where any real replay value is to be had. Blur is a game that has always seemed to fly under people's radar, before it came out, when it came out, and after it came out. But within the wrappings of an admittedly gaudy neon aesthetic is a great kart racer that is a whole lot of fun to play with friends. Would the game be more enjoyable if there was still an active multiplayer community surrounding it? Absolutely. But just because a component of a game is missing doesn't automatically make it horrible. It might make it worse than it was when it first came out, but it doesn't mean that you should pass it up. And Blur is absolutely a game that you should not pass up. If you have a game that you think a lot of people missed, be sure to leave a comment below or send me a message. Otherwise, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.